Hi and welcome to The Light Leaders, a podcast for light workers who want more money, power and impact. I'm your host, Alex E. Lember. I believe that we are currently in the middle of a global awakening of humanity and that leveraging entrepreneurship is the fastest way to raise the consciousness of our planet. So in this podcast, I interview light workers and conscious entrepreneurs who follow their soul mission and have built a business around it. I call them light leaders, and this is the new paradigm. You will hear their stories and, more importantly, receive tools, tips, and strategies on how you can also impact more people and grow your business while following your soul mission. If you hear little nuggets you love and you'd like to share, screenshot this episode and share on your Instagram stories. Make sure to tag us at the Light Leaders Podcast and we will repost. There's a device I love and use almost every day. It's called the Helena. It sends specific frequencies to the body. It's been developed by quantum physicists from Germany, and it is the next evolution of health and well-being. It has amazing results. On top of it, it's an entrepreneurial opportunity. This is how I monetize my lifestyle, my brand, and this podcast. So if you're interested in getting this amazing device for yourself, or also in the entrepreneurial opportunity, I would love to help you. You can go to www.thelightleaders.org/Healy, Healy. Hi and welcome to this new episode of The Light Leaders. Today I'm with Helena Houdova. She's a sacred sexuality teacher and empowered sexuality coach. She spoke on many stages, including with Mindvalley, and she's the author of the programs Empowered Men and Sacred Women. I'm super happy to have you here today. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thank you, darling. I'm super happy to be here.
Thank you. What are you grateful for today?
Oh, I'm grateful for so many things today. I had an earlier session with a friend of mine and we were closing my karmic things which were preventing me to really fully shine. And this is period of time when light is coming on earth much stronger and our physical bodies are feeling it, and we are cleansing a lot of the old darkness. And we can see it on collective as well. The darkness is coming up to be seen. And I was stuck in like one thing which I couldn't get through. The love I couldn't feel so well. So today I'm super grateful because we were able to, with all the guides and all the support, to close my guilt for all the lifetimes I hurt. I was the tool of suffering, and I was carrying a lot of guilt about that. And I was also carrying a lot of fear to be again in the victim mode, to be hurt, to suffer. So both those parts we cleared today. So I'm so grateful. So I'm a little bit high.
So you're even more in your power now.
Oh yeah,
I'm curious to see how it looks like.
I was already in my power, but I had very big leaks to different timelines, to different, I was leaking, for example, my, this information might help some people. I was leaking a lot of my compassion to different timelines, which is not very helpful because I need it now for me, for people in my life. I was leaking a lot of energy in form of guilt, in form of trying to fix, trying to save still, even though in this lifetime I already worked on it so hard. I'm not saving anybody anymore, but I was still, out of that guilt, going to different timelines and trying to fix things. So that's gone, that's closed, and I can absolutely fully shine my love and light, and yeah.
And I'm super excited about you because, well, we'll have a juicy topic. We'll talk about sexuality. And also, you're a very powerful woman because you're creating these programs that are very successful. And at the same time, you're raising 3 children, like on your own, and world schooling here in Bali. So a lot of admiration for that.
Thank you.
I'd like to give context to the listener. So I'd like to start with what is your vision for the world, your why, and how is your current business helping bringing that vision into manifestation?
Yummy. That's a beautiful question. My vision for the world is that we take our power back. We take our power back because we are so powerful. We are powerful beyond measure. And my mission is to help people remember that. To remember that power we are looking outside in different authorities and governments and companies and corporations and teachers and gurus. No, it's inside us, and it lies within life force, our sexual power. It's the primal power, and from it stems everything. Even the connection to consciousness, when we are consciously working with our sexual life force, our consciousness can go from this to much wider understanding of the world.
And you feel like sexuality is definitely a gateway to be in your power?
That's the gateway. Definitely. For sure, because that's also why it was suppressed for so long. Because the power is our life force. Like, what is there? If there is no life force, there's no life. It's the primal creative energy which creates absolutely everything. Everything. There would be no you, no me, no birds, no trees, no earth, if there was no sexual power. And I truly believe that it was suppressed on intention to keep us small, to keep us easily manipulated, to keep us in fear, to keep us... And it's time to take that back, that knowledge. Not the power, because the power is in us all the time, every time, non-stop. But the knowledge of the power needs to come back. The sacredness of understanding I'm powerful and it's sacred. It's not...
And that's why your divine mission is to create these programs.
Yes.
Online.
Well, it's part of my business. When I really deeply connect with the mission, it's changing. It's, the purpose is not one thing you hold on tight in life because things are changing. But what is constantly coming to me, I know that when I was incarnating on Earth, I chose to be part of this change. I chose to be part of the transition which is Earth and humanity is going through by being the messenger of remembrance that we are powerful and we are sacred.
Yeah, and we're recording this podcast just before 21st of December. When people listen, we don't know what will have happened. I'd love to know a little bit about your journey, keeping it especially in regards to what led you, well, first to be so passionate about claiming your power through sexuality, and then to building a business around it.
I kind of had to go through the valleys of the pain to understand that that's where it's taking me. I had the awakening through traumas. First one was in childhood when I was raped, and then I used to be a high-end model, and that's very sexual, objectified, touched, no boundaries respected moment in my life. And then I married sex addict, a beautiful man, brilliant, amazing, father of my 3 children, but hiding from himself through his addiction. And that moment was like, enough. It's enough. I had to choose. Either I would die trying to change and save and give myself, or I would step into my power and started to claim the time on earth, because I was wasting it. Mm-hmm.
And when did you decide to go full on this mission?
Well, I was kind of forced. I cannot say I decided. I ended up being a single mom with 3 kids, with no money, no home, well, I had support. I wouldn't make it without support of my family and friends, but it was still on my own. And so I didn't have a choice. I had to provide for my kids. We didn't have money for next day food, so for me it was never about compromising. I knew I didn't want to go back to modeling, even though I could make amazing money. I could work in the bank. I could be part of the old system, but I knew I cannot compromise with myself, because I would immediately physically get sick. So I signed up for a certification program, even though I had no money. And day before it started, I received the first payment. Like, it was maybe $100 more, but I received enough so I could put the first payment down, and that was clear that that's what it is. And I finished my certification, and basically, for me, it's about really supporting people on their journey, because I know how hard it is to awaken to facts that you have been lied to all your life. I know how hard it is to awaken the facts that the system is not here to protect you. The governments are not here to protect you. The corporations want to keep you sick so they can make more money through food, through pharmaceuticals, through water, poisoning water. So I know how hard it is, and I know there's a way out of the darkness. I know that. So for me to be that guide with concrete tools, concrete support, and for me that piece that it's through sexuality is the key piece, because again, we have been lied to that we are not powerful, that we have to search and seek power in the hands of doctors, in the hands of teachers of the old educational system, but that doesn't work. So what do? My kids are old schooled, and that took a lot of my parents are teachers, poor things. So I put them through a lot, but it's all, I know that my gift is what I can serve with, to help other people awaken to their power. And not only awaken, but also really step in it and start creating from it. Because right now, it won't help if we are still focused on the old. It will help if we are focused on creating the new. And I feel that's what's happening in Bali. We are the hub of the new world. We are the hub of the new creations, the new systems, the new support, the new co-creation, the new cooperation, the new, and there's not much of competition, comparing. There's more like we really, all of us want the other person to succeed. That's also why we're supporting each other. That's the new world. That's it.
The lab of the new earth.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you talked about tools to help people be in their power. So that's when you're starting your coaching practice. What are those tools that you share? Oh,
there's so many.
Pick a couple of them.
Well, if It's a pleasure. The sort of like the peer into the empowerment is your pleasure. So if you can feel in your body your pleasure and your arousal and your excitement, your turn on, then your life will be turned on, right? But because the sexuality was suppressed on intention so long, we don't feel pleasure. We learned not to feel pleasure. We learned not to be feeling in our bodies. We learned how not to get too aroused because it's not welcomed in the society. So, there's shame, there's guilt, there's fear. But that was all created intentionally. So my tools help people to feel into what needs to be felt, welcome it, accept it, and then find a gift underneath it. Because every single guilt, fear, sadness, disgust holds some gift inside them or underneath them. I guide in my one-on-one, I guide people to really see where the blocks are and turn them from blocks to gifts. And in my online programs, it's difficult for men and women. I work with both. And for men, it's more about, I'm a woman, so I cannot tell men how your masculinity should look like, but I can guide them to meet their divine masculine. I can guide them with practices to connect with their rawness, with their sexual primal power, which they are so scared of because it was misused for millennia. And there's a lot of guilt around it, a lot of shame. And so reclaiming that primal power is super important for both men and women. You went through my program, so...
I was going to say, I did your program and I got a lot out of it, especially around rewiring some parts of my sexuality where I had shame.
Yes, yes. And that's where you find your power.
Yeah. Shame in sexuality and even in pleasure in general, like you'd eat a really good meal and be like, And here people would do that, it's normal, but in Paris, people might look at you like you're weird.
Yeah. I'm checked too. So those, so for men, it's more about reconnecting with that real divine masculine and trusting themselves, because again, the power, the male power, the fake male power, the patriarchy male power was misused for millennia.
But that something as a man that's been a lot in my field is, if I'm in my power, I might hurt people, I might be harmful.
Exactly. So when you work with that fear and with that shame and with that guilt, you can turn it into power. You can actually turn it into accepting that you are powerful. And right now, what I believe and what I'm seeing, it's just a program which is being carried generationally for millennia and millennia. And again, it's intentional. And right now, all of us, everybody who's watching, listening, we came here to be part of this transition, the transformation of humanity. And we already experienced those lessons in our past lives in different timelines. So we don't need to carry that guilt and fear anymore, because we already experienced it. We all were the abuser and the abused. We all were the burned one and the one who burned. We all were some form of torturing part and some form of victim. So perpetrator and victim. So right now, to come back to understanding that, okay, my soul already learned those lessons, my soul already grew from those lessons, and I won't misuse my power anymore as a man and as a woman. But right now, that's what's expected from the divine masculine, to really understand, don't carry those, yes, there still might be there, and we will welcome them and we will work with them, the guilt and shame and, you know, the generational abuse. But it's time to understand that that was just created to keep me small, and now I can step into my power and I will not misuse it, because one of the most important divine masculine parts is to create safety for women and children. And that's what men, your generation and men who are here on planet Earth now, they can absolutely reclaim it just by understanding that. Just by, yes, I will not misuse this power ever again. Saying stop, saying it's enough. It was enough. We don't need that anymore. We don't need that for our evolution as a collective, and I don't need it for my evolution as an individual.
Stops with me.
Yep.
And so you talked about what's interesting for the listener is also how you built your business around it. So you got your certification, then you started doing one-on-one coaching, and then group coaching, and then the online program. Is that how you evolved?
Yeah, the group coaching is pretty much the online programs. I found amazing power in when the group works together and one of them brings in some issue, the whole group heals. Not just all group. I mean, we are all connected, so whole world heals. We work for the collective. We are not just working for ourselves. And I was always called to work with masses, with a lot of people who are on the brink of, I'm already awakened, I know, but what now? What's the step now? How can I empower myself? How can I really start creating from my gifts, which I came here from? How can I shine brighter? Yeah. And we were talking about what it means for men and for women. It's more about opening up. We were in contractions for so long to protect ourselves, to protect the kids, to protect. And we cannot go into pleasure if we are contract in daily life or in general as a women collectively.
To surrender.
Exactly. There's no way we can surrender if we don't feel safe. So the role of a man is to give woman feeling of safety so she can open up and keep her there in the openness. And that's how she can start feeling more pleasure, more orgasms, more turn on, and show up as the divine goddess she is. So for women, it's more about, again, same like men, welcoming the fear, the shame of being too much or too little or not enough or too much of something, and keep opening up slowly or fast, whatever, but just keep opening up. And for women, it doesn't work just on sexual center like for men. A woman needs to open up everywhere. All her chakras, all her energy center needs to be open so she can open up physically.
And while reclaiming our power through sexuality, I think I know the answer. Do you think it helps to then create as an entrepreneur in the world? No.
To create more entrepreneurial thinking, or
let's say, how can it help your business also to be more, to remove those layers of shame and to be more in your power and your sexuality? How they're connected?
If you live with shame and fear and guilt, you will never be able to get from that contraction out there in everything. It doesn't have to be business. It can be parenting, calling in abundance, standing in your purpose, having beautiful relationships, self-love, right? So if you love yourself, if you love your sexuality, if you have a beautiful relationship with your turn-on, with your pleasure, if you're welcoming that in your life, then you're going to be creating business with that turn-on. You're going to be turn-on entrepreneur because your life force is on and shining and going, and that's the power, that's the energy which can never be depleted if we are connected with it. We are the machines. So for business, I did a lot of self-pleasuring practices when I was launching my business, because I knew that I want to bring that excitement and arousal and turn on into it, and I want to be of service. And I didn't start by the typical old marketing, I want to make this much money. I started literally self-pleasuring and imagining, doing sex magic and imagining a lot of people which are being helped by what I'm doing and by what I'm sharing and by who I am.
What's sex magic?
Sex magic is pretty much manifestation of the life you want for you or for the world around you. So you can you can basically take everything from the vortex you already have into your material life.
Okay. Why is it called sex magic?
Because you work with your pleasure. You work with your
while
arousal.
you self-pleasure, you
Yes.
manifest. Yeah.
Self-pleasuring, or it's even more powerful when two people make love and have same intention. It's based on orbit. You're working with your energy, you're circulating it, and then instead of just circulating it for your own pleasure, you are sending intention out, what you want, and then you are also receiving it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We had Damaraj talking about it too. And
I know, that's why I don't want to go too much into details, but I think
it's really interesting.
I think it's so powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally didn't know. Year and something ago, I wasn't sure where we gonna live with my kids, how I'm gonna feed them, and within a year, I empowered myself. I empowered myself financially, in abundance of friends, of partnerships, of financially. It went from zero to, I don't even know what, but very high.
When did you start?
About a year ago.
A year ago? Because I've known you for less than a year, and I feel like you've been doing it for years and years.
Year and something. I've been doing it for years and years, but I didn't have the empowering, I didn't work with I wasn't standing in that power. I knew that that's where it's calling me, but I was still in a healing process. I had to heal from my trauma first, I had to experience also, I had to go through being homeless with 3 kids, really. I had to. That was my lesson, because that really forced you to step in your power, if nothing else. It did. Yeah.
And so for you, what worked really well was to really bring that excitement, that playfulness. I think that's what makes what you're doing attractive, right? It's like you bring a certain playfulness to it, and so you haven't worked that much on a structured way to do marketing, for example. Like you've been more into, okay, where's my joy, and follow this, and can you give more details?
Yeah, sure. For me,
happened?
I really don't do pretty much any marketing, because I feel that the tribe who I am here to serve finds me. There is not much marketing I'm doing. Plus, to do marketing now on like social media and be in sex empowerment, even though it's empowerment, I got banned several times, censored. They don't want people to be empowered. So for me, it's about, I share my story a lot. I share what I went through, how my PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome, is showing up here and there. What do I do with that? The tools. I offer a lot of tools. I do a lot of lives. I do a lot of activations. My intention really is to see humanity back in its power. There is nothing but can, stop me, or the old systems of marketing and how, I was at a point where there was some fear preventing me to really work on the actual day-to-day basis things. And my website, it took like month and month. And I got pissed off. I was like, okay, that's enough. I'm going to learn how to do website. So I learned how to do website. And now I'm doing my own website. I have somebody who's helping me on technical part, but
you use Kajabi, right?
I use Kajabi. And, I used to run charity for 12 years. So I knew everything from accounting to marketing to fundraising to how to make events to how to know if the project we are supporting is good or bad, due diligence, all of it. So I know all of it. Do I want to do it? No. But when there's time, I have to avail. So I have trust in me that I'm here for myself, and for myself meaning the light, the gift that I am here. A lot of people are waiting. What else I need to learn? What else I need to do? And the only difference is that you do it. You do it, and I had to do it, so we would have food and place to live. But I don't think from entrepreneurial point of view there is one key point. A lot of people don't believe they have something to offer, that they are not good enough or special enough. We all came here with gift. And that gift might not be valued or honored during our childhood. We had to suppress it because we needed to fit in, we needed to survive, we needed not to be left alone. So take that gift back, reconnect with that gift, because that's your answer. That's basically what all. Find that gift, who you are, not in your doing, but in your being. What it is that is joy in you, what it is that is the light in you, the force which is so beautiful. So that part, I think, is the key. Not to share out of point of, am I making enough money? Will I, how can I make more money? But how am I with my own gifts? How can I be most of service? How can I make this world a better place by who I am? By my message, by my own special power.
And do you have tips on how we can find our gifts? For you, for example, how do you have practices maybe that help?
What did you love as a child most? What it is that made you dance or scream or yell out of joy as a child? For me, it certainly wasn't sex, but
that was my next question.
But I remember self-pleasuring since I remember my life. Like, I was always in my Kundalini energy. And I see it on my kids. They are Kundalini masters too. So.
And maybe playing, like sex is kind of adult.
Yeah, sure. But, a lot of, we heard so many times, so many beautiful gifts were destroyed by words like behave normally, don't show off, keep it low, stop screaming. That's not good enough. Take that back. They were hurt, so they hurt you. Your parents were hurt, so they hurt you, because they were stripped of that too. And it's time to dance and create more art. We need artists. We don't need.
Stops with us.
We need more art. Yeah. So my tips, that's pretty much it. reconnect with the why am I here?
Yeah, so
What's my
connect with
mission?
that and then take action.
And if there is something that's preventing you from connecting, know that it's just a program, that it's old program which protected you for years so you would survive.
It's powerful to create that dissociation and see the programs, and with so many things, right? We've had people talk about the programs on money, the programs on even sales, the programs on sex, I know for me, when I see I've been programmed, it becomes so much easier to, let's say, stop an addiction, for example. Okay, so there's a program here that wants me to be unhealthy. Then it makes it way easier to be like, okay, I'll stop smoking, or I'll stop eating at McDonald's.
That's big. Yeah.
You talked a lot about the intention of people to take away our power from us. Do you want to expand a bit on this?
The world is run by few for a very, very, very long time. That's why we started competing. That's why we started comparing. That's why we suppressed sacred menstruation in women. That's why we started to shaming erections of little boys. That's why they're burned, because we knew how to use that power and create beautiful world for us. That's why sacred goddesses and priestesses and priests started to be called prostitutes back in Jesus' time and before. Because if we live with shame and guilt and fear, we are easily manipulated. Once you know that you are powerful, and once you also understand that you cannot die, because there's no beginning, no end. I mean, I've been here so many times. There's no beginning, no end, just transformation. So that fear of death goes. So in that moment, you are free. And they can't manipulate you that much. Or not at all. And again, that power lies in our body, in our first and second chakras.
And to awaken to that and to remember your past lives, again, do you have some practices?
To remember past lives, I don't have practices. Sometimes I guide people during activations to remember before they came here what is their essence, what is their true light, what is their gift. Because we are all love. We all are love. But karmically we came here with something we need to either clean, or generationally we carry those old patterns. I mean, you can heal, there is genetics and epigenetics, right? Genetics, it's in your genes, And there's epigenetics which says, no, it's in the habits you grew up in and you can change them. You can heal diabetes in 2-3 weeks. Diabetes type 2. Diabetes type 1, 50% of people can heal that. Diabetes type 2, you can heal it in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Changing lifestyle, starting eating with no sugar, no GMOs, no animal protein.
Yeah, there's, on the nutrition side, I was following a lot Dr. Greger. I don't know if you know him, but he's been talking a lot about, he's reversing a lot of conditions through plant-based eating. It's
plant-based eating, and it's the sexual force. It's I'm reclaiming myself. I'm not anymore. I'm not giving power to my parents over me. I'm not giving power to my to my government over me. I'm not giving power to the educational system, which anyway doesn't work because it it was created for the intention to create people who just work. It's not natural to work from 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. It's not. You're supposed to, it kills your creativity, it kills your sex life, your life force, it kills your turn on to life, it kills your joy, it kills you. We are not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be in nature, be around each other, and share our gifts. That's one thing. I got remembrance of my life in Australia when I was Aborigine. This is something I remember, that life, but there's also information I have from this lifetime. They used to create names for themselves, but depending on their growth. So let's say 15-year-old boy felt like his gift is singing. So they would call him Song. They would have a ceremony. He would say, now I feel like Song. So they would create ceremonies, celebrated him, supported him. It's a sing. And he was gifted to the tribe with his songs. Yeah, that was celebrated. Then he grew up, he started to be 22, and he started hunting eagles. Yeah. So his name, he came to the tribe leader and he said, my name now is Eagle. I feel like I'm connected with eagles and I have their medicine and I also hunt them and I am in connection with them and I train them. And that they would throw ceremony for him and he would change his name, and from that point everybody would call him Eagle. And then he was older and he maybe started making baskets, so his name changed to Weaver or something. So and that's beautiful because that's supporting our gifts, that's supporting our growth, that's supporting our individuality, that's supporting that part of us what is in service to the tribe we live in. It's so beautiful, and that's what I see for us. We need to go back to that. We need to go back, instead of how it should be, the programs and old patterns we grew up in. It has to be this way, and you have to suppress, and one cookie cutter in education, and everybody has to have, some sort of medical this and that. To go back to who am I and what am I offering to this world, and have freedom to choose that, because we grow, right?
When I chose the name for this podcast, The Light Leaders, I had in mind also, like the Avengers, tribe of superhero, where we all have our superpowers.
We do have superpowers, and it's in us, inside of us, in our genitals.
What was your name when you were an Aboriginal?
I remember Spirit Woman. I was Spirit Woman.
Okay. There's definitely some consistency there.
I had a company called Spirit Woman at the time when I had this vision. Now it's more Sacred Woman. The sacredness is coming to me. Sacred. Bring the sacred back to earth.
Regarding the power of sexuality, we talked a lot about freeing ourselves from the conditioning of our society, removing shame. Do you want to share maybe a couple of practices also that beyond removing shame, beyond getting our freedom back, is very ecstatic, and that really is not going back to who we are and remove the conditioning, but even going to a next level of being in our power and living in a way that maybe we don't even imagine.
Big feedback I get from my courses is, oh my God, I didn't know that I can self-source my pleasure. A lot of people believe that their pleasure depends on somebody else or some outside source, for example, porn or fantasy or, I don't know, erotic book or partner. So our pleasure is ours. That's always our birthright. Since birth, we have this capacity of pleasure, and we can broaden, we can make it much more wider. And one thing I suggest to people mostly is stay with your pleasure, even if it's a speck. When I work with women who, for example, don't experience orgasms and they want to, we start by, when you are self-pleasuring or making love, stay with your pleasure in your body. Go, where do you feel the pleasure in your body? Is it in your cheeks? Is it in your chest? Is it in your yoni? Is it in your belly? And stay there and expand it. Like, imagine how you are expanding it with every inhale. Every inhale you can expand that pleasure. You can make it bigger. You can create new channels for that pleasure to be felt. That's quite groundbreaking, because a lot of men, because they are on that old vision of how porn shows us, because that's the main education right now. The porn shows us it's all about performance, right? And it's all about quick, fast, and it's all about I must, the fake masculine
like
force.
the roughness.
Yes. And so when you stay with your pleasure and you allow your pleasure to move you, to sound you, to feel, you don't go in the fantasies, you don't go in the porn, you don't go into thinking about some other porn star or some other woman, but you're staying with your pleasure. It's the only time that the pleasure can expand and become orgasmic.
Yeah, that's so true, and I can definitely relate coming from that world. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, I stopped watching porn, for example. That was like a big change. And also, I read 6 months ago, we talked about it in the podcast with Damage also, but The Multi-Orgasmic Man, Chia, which is a good book for men to rewire that.
Yes.
Because we're very concentrated in the genitals area, and to move the energy through the whole body, to learn to have full body orgasms without ejaculation. So there's a lot there. Yeah. Also, another good book recommendation when you talked about at the priestess at the time of Jesus. I know you really like the Magdalene manuscript. That's a good one.
Did you finish it?
Not yet.
Okay.
In the process, but it was.
There's so many books. There's so many.
It was a friend of mine, and she wanted to finish it before. We're getting close to the end of this episode, this juicy episode. What are, let's say, the listener? What are simple actions, maybe 2 or 3, they can take? Let's say right now, today, just after they listen to this podcast, what can they do?
Well, only just by listening this, you receive codes and activations for you to consciously or subconsciously change the wiring of the beliefs. So if you want to take it further, there's a lot of there's also trauma. We didn't even mention that, right? There's a lot of trauma which we need to work with. Every 3rd woman and every 5th man experience sexual violence in their lifetimes. And that needs special attention. And if you did, and those are just numbers which are collected by officials. Imagine, I probably know 2 women who don't have story. 2 out of all my friends or all my clients, 2. So if you experience that, it will be there. It will affect your sexual life. It will affect all your life, your relationships, your business, until you give it attention, heal it, love it, whatever it needs. So there is a lot of sex coaches around, a lot of women who are trained to, and men a little less, but a lot of women who are trained to support you on that journey to reclaim the pleasure, reclaim the power. I'm not the only one. There's so many of us, and thank goodness. So see if you want to work with somebody. See if you want to really... The journey to stepping in your power is through reclaiming your sexuality, to heal the relationship with your sexuality, to take your sexuality as the source of your pleasure. Pleasure is such a high vibration. Just feeling pleasure, you're vibrating high. You're changing your vibrations. You're accessing higher state of consciousness. You're accessing the altered state of consciousness, but all the magic and miracles can happen. So you're not alone for this. You don't have to do this all alone. You don't need to have. It's not exact science. Everybody needs something else. So I would say go and find somebody who can support you on that journey. If you decide, you can look on my website. For men, I have a program, Empowered Men. For women, it's called Sacred Woman.
And how can people follow you?
Instagram, Helena Houdova, and website same, helenahoudova.com.
And would you have a practice you'd recommend the listener to do tonight?
Depends what they want.
To be more in their power and manifest more quickly.
So start your self-pleasuring or love-making practice with intention. What it is that you want to call in your life, what it is that you want more. Do you want more money? Do you want more beautiful relationship? Do you want partner? Do you want abundance? Be very specific of what. Sometimes I call abundance in, and then I have 8 cats in the living room. So be very specific there. Whatever it is that you want, and start vibrating like you already have it. You already have it. Or you are it, if it's, I'm healthy. I'm already healthy. I am shining with radiance. What is the best possible thing? And vibrate it. Imagine you have it. And imagine it in every single cell of your body and vibrate it. Turn the volume up. Then make love. Or self-pleasure. And don't think about it too much. You can't be too much in the head when you are working with pleasure. But just stay in that vibration of, I'm already it. I already have it. That's how you create. That's how you manifest it. How you take it from the quantum field to the reality of now.
It's very Joe Dispenza like, adapted for sexual practice and self-pleasure. The Joe Dispenza of sexuality.
He's beautiful, yeah. Thank goodness for him.
Thank you so much, Helena. And I really want to acknowledge you for your courage to speak up on this and to give permission to people and hold space. It's very important. Embodying all the things you do. I've known you personally now for almost a year. And I can feel you're giving me and so many people permission to be in our pleasure, to be in our power. And thank you so much for sharing here with our listeners. Do you have any last word for our listener?
Thank you, Alex, for doing this. Thank you for being in your power. Thank you for allowing me to share my gift. And the last word, just shine. Like it's time. It's time. It's really time. We are at the point of this timeline where it's time to take our power back, our pleasure back, and create world not out of fear but from love.
Thank you for taking some of your precious time to listen to this podcast. If you stayed until the end, I assume it was insightful. If you like this podcast, please share with friends. Remember that if you tag us in your Instagram story at the Light Leaders Podcast, we will repost. Tell us what you've learned. You can also leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Now, if you think I can help you grow your soul mission business, you can register for a free 15-minute coaching call with me. Go to www.thelightleaders.org/free call. Thank you again, and let's co-create the conscious new earth together.